This program is brought to you by Tyvision Media, helping Stokvels and burial societies reach their goals. Welcome to Zaka Stokvel Insights, a platform where Stokvel and burial society members learn more about the world of business, and business leaders get to understand these structures a whole lot more. If you would like to answer, or if you'd like us to answer rather, some of the questions that your Stokvel or burial society has, please do send us a voice note using the number below on the screen. You can also contact us using the email info@tyvisionmedia.co.za. Or if you would like to share some insightful thoughts, please do follow us across the social media platforms below. Today, the spotlight is on funeral covers, their terms and conditions, how it differs from a burial society, and how the two can work together. Joining me in studio is our resident guest expert, Thabiso Masudubele from Tyvision Media. But before we get into this discussion, this week's question is from Zelda, representing the Nhlapho family.
Good day, Zaka team. My name is Zelda and I represent the Nhlapho family. Our Stokvel is family-run business society and we are quite a big family. This means we have different generations and that causes problems when we try to change how we run the society. So my question is, how can we make our society formal without causing problems? Because we are also experiencing challenges because we do not have strict control over our contributions because of poor administration. So the other question is that because we have other older members who'd like to join, some can no longer join due to their age. So what do we do because we do not want to cause divisions in the family? Thank you.
Some burial societies are unregulated, which means that members are not guaranteed a payout because there's no contract to enforce or back up their contributions. Due to poor administration and lack of understanding, this can cause a case of theft and loss of money. Ntate Masudubele, there are countless situations where members have, complained that a certain Stokvel or burial society actually turned out to be a pyramid scheme. I think a case that stood out for me was the one that took place in 2020, where the FSCA also got involved, and they had to issue out a statement for, people not to do any business with a particular burial society and a funeral parlor as well. So why is this still a problem today?
Thanks for having me again, Nonto. I think the main challenge that we have is that people are looking for instant gratification and reward. I think the notion of something that's too good to be true, not being as good as it should be, doesn't actually sit well with people. So people are looking for quick rewards. So people want to invest money and get returns, higher returns over a short period of time. And we know that it just simply doesn't work that way. So if anyone promises you, extremely high returns over a very short period of time, already that's almost a warning sign to say, let's be careful here. Let's look at the detail. How true, how possible is this? And chances are, if it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. So it's to stay away from it. And people should just get to accept the fact that if you're investing money, you're putting money away, it does take time for your investment to accrue any sort of interest.
Aside from the FSCA, are there other platforms or organizations that members can go to with these sort of complaints?
Yes, there are. There are different ombuds that you have. So, for instance, in the case of a funeral parlor, if it's a juristic representative of an insurer, they're then welcome to go to, for instance, the FAIS ombud, the FAIS ombud, where they can then lodge a complaint to say, we've been paying premiums, and then when it was time to claim, we haven't been sorted out, and there will be a recourse for them, because if that particular organization is registered with the FSCA, then the recourse will harm it one way or the other. So, for instance, there might be action taken against what's known as a key individual of that insurer, which is the KI, they might be fined or they might, actually be sent to prison. So people actually have reason not to do things that are outside of the realm of the law.
Now, let's look at the terminologies that would be found on funeral covers. I think Zelda mentioned that, she has a spouse, a boyfriend or a fiance. What does the fine print say when it comes to spouses? Does this include traditional marriage, cohabitation?
In the past, it's a very interesting question. In the past, I think there was a very rigid definition of what a spouse is. So it would have to be someone who you're married to by way of a civil marriage that's legally recognized. But I think what's happened over the years is that insurers have recognized and regulators have recognized that we don't live in a particularly, black and white environment. There's a lot of things that we have to grapple with. For instance, the issue of traditional marriages. They're somewhat different to your civil marriages, and yet people are referred to them and are rightly their spouses. So the definition of spouse has actually extended to go beyond what's ordinarily in a marriage, in a civil union marriage. So spouse tends to cover anyone who you can define as someone living with you for a minimum of 6 months or so. Which then another word that's used is someone who's your partner, your living partner. So the definition of spouse has been increased to cover what you would consider someone you sharing your life with.
And what about children? I mean, I think the reality for an average South African is that, one person could be, the main caregiver or guardian, for instance. So what are the legalities around that?
Again, over time, insurers have had to keep up with what is happening within communities. So we know that in a lot of communities, parents pass away, the grandparents then have to raise the children, and khuliso ugogo, type of thing. So for all intents and purposes, your grandmother, your aunt, in some instances, your mother's aunt become your caregivers and your legal guardians. And so those people are then able to classify the children whose care they are taking care of as their children. So it's not restricted to biological children anymore. The definition used to be biological children. But now with the advent of realizing what's happening within our communities, people have said that your child is your dependent. And how do you define that dependent who's your child? It's someone who you're solely responsible for, and they're completely dependent on you for their upbringing and for their life.
Let's just put a hold on that, because I would like us to also look at, situations where this person may not necessarily be your family member. It could be a friend. So there's a lot for us to unpack. Please stay tuned. There's so much more to look out for on Zaka Stokvel Insights. Are you a member of a Stokvel or burial society? We at Tyvision Media specialize in helping Stokvels and burial societies. Contact us for professional Stokvel and burial society administration, access to investments and funeral cover experts, and credible financial information. We will help your Stokvel and burial society to achieve your goals and grow. Contact us today.